Hi, welcome to this week's episode of Success in Women. I'm Linda, and as you can see, my colleague Andrea is still under the weather. So we wish her all the best. But I was able to ask her for a tip because I thought at least you deserve to get some feedback and not even feedback, something from Andrea that, she's still part of this little group. And we want to help you as much as we can with the Christmas holidays. And Andrea does a lot of stuff for her family. And one of the things that she's learned along the way is when she's doing her holiday baking, she actually, when she's using something sticky like peanut butter and or corn syrup or something along that line where things just want to glob onto your measuring utensil, what she does is she sprays a very light coating of PAM, and whatever she's putting in the measuring cup just slides right off. So when you're doing your baking, anything with something sticky, this will surely help you in the kitchen. But going along that vein, today we're going to be talking about diet, exercise, the time you need for you, which is not all that easy to do in the month of December. And with all the Christmas parties that go on and the invitations that you get, it's really easy to let whatever goals that you've been working hard all year on, actually, I'll say, stay on course. It's also like if you go on a cruise or something and you've got all this food presented in front of you every day, 3 times a day, well, actually more because they'll have, their nighttime buffets. It's easy to get carried away, eat because it's there, not necessarily because you're hungry, but wow, how can you resist? And as you can see from my background, in December, there's lots of goodies that are constantly put in front of you. But you have to remember, first of all, you're in control of what goes in here. Regardless of what people have put out for you, you have to control it. So you have the ability to be able to say, no, thank you. But if you want to be polite when you go somewhere, a couple things you might want to consider doing. Make sure you eat the proper stuff that you normally would like to eat to keep, I'll say, the weight down. So that when you go to a holiday party or a restaurant because you're meeting friends or going to some relatives because they're having early holiday meals, that you actually go there knowing that you won't be able to eat as much as we would normally do if we went there on an empty stomach, because you're taking care of yourself first. Because you have to think about, what are you making more important? Putting that food in your mouth versus maintaining a healthy weight. And it's easy to gain weight. It is very difficult to lose weight. And so a lot of people throughout the year will have different things that they're doing to help them keep a healthy weight. So whether you're on a keto, Weight Watchers, low carb, intermittent fasting, something, you don't want to blow all the efforts you've done for 11 months because 1 month you're tempted day in and day out. Now, if you end up getting tempted and overindulging, I went to my first open house Christmas party, and there was all kinds of wonderful foods. I limited myself to 1 glass of wine and then drank water. And then what I did was I tried to stay away from the crackers, but I had the really nice cheeses, and on the charcuterie board, they had nice meats. They had a little bit of grapes and strawberries and shrimp. All of those things that I knew would be okay for me to have a little bit. And I felt really satisfied actually by the time I left, but I didn't feel like I had overindulged. Now, if you want to have a second glass of wine, what you might want to do is, I'll say, have a spritzer instead. That way you're still having something social and you're not taking in all of those extra calories. Because again, we fight so hard throughout the whole year to try to maintain a healthy lifestyle. We don't want to blow it all, because in 1 month, it would be very easy to gain 5-10 pounds. And then what happens on New Year's Eve? You make a resolution. Okay, that's it. I've overdone it this month. And now I'm going to go and start on a new diet in January. You know, with diet and exercise, January 1st seems to be that day that, and the beginning of a year that, yeah, everything's going to change until it doesn't. And again, ladies, you need to keep yourself healthy, because for some of you, you will have families that, you know, count on you. You will have employers that actually, you know, want you showing up for work. You've got employees, your colleagues that actually, you know, depend on you, and not overburdening them with work because something happens and you end up, because, you know, sometimes with weight gain, you could end up with diabetes or other health issues. And then that's an added stress in your life. And so sometimes when you're tempted, you have to say, is having this extra dessert or extra plate of food, maybe with some of the things that might not be the healthiest, is that more important for me to eat that, feel guilty later? Or am I important enough to say, you know what, I don't need it? Because I find when I make those decisions consciously, after a while, so as the evening goes on or the next day, I actually feel pretty good that I never overindulged. We all have to use a bit of self-discipline. And it's easy, if you want to have the dessert, to have it, but at what expense? So if you want to overindulge, no problem. Maybe what you do then is, either if you have time that same day, you go out for a nice long walk, or the very next day you make it a priority to get to the gym or go for a nice long walk around your block, wherever you live. Because you're going to feel so much better if you get on the scale at the end of December and realize that you were able to enjoy the holidays, you were able to indulge to a point, but you also were able to maintain, because you cut back when you were alone, you actually worked out a little extra, and you didn't have to worry about getting those extra calories and packing them on. Because throughout the year, I get invited to a number of different things where I could be tempted, like with all this food in the background, to be able to enjoy at somebody else's expense, for one, somebody else's effort, for two, and just being able to go there and like feast on something, a nice variety of food. It's easy for me to do. And sometimes I want to do that, and I do. But I also know when it's my time, when I'm not at this party and I'm not at this event, I make sure I go back to what's working for me to keep the weight off. And one of the things that I do, and I'm not recommending or suggesting that you do this, because everybody's different and everybody's body is different. But for me, what works for me to keep my weight down, or at least maintain my weight, and that's all I care about. I'm not looking to lose. It's always nice if you can lose an extra 5-10 pounds, but I'm not looking for that. Throughout the year, what I do is try to maintain my weight so my clothes fit. I only have one size of clothes and I can put on anything. But I do that because I work with intermittent fasting. Now, it works for me because I'm a single lady. When I'm at home, I'm cooking for me. I'm not cooking for a family. And if I choose not to cook a proper meal, but just have soup and I don't know, something else, I don't eat a lot of sandwiches, although I love sandwiches. I love bread. I love to make bread. But throughout the year, I try to limit all of that to just on occasion when I want it. But if I'm out and I'm offered a piece of cake, especially a chocolate cake, I love chocolate, I'm going to have it because it's one day. The problem in December is it's more than one day. It's not just Christmas Day. It's Christmas Eve. It's maybe going to families' Boxing Day or throughout the month, because I know with a lot of extended families and big families, they can't all get together at the same time. So there's several different families having occasions inviting you, or holiday Christmas parties at work, at your church, associations that you belong to. Different events are going to be happening. Friends just calling you up and saying, we haven't seen each other much. Let's get together over the holidays. It's easy to overindulge. But being careful on the things that you select when you go out. And most people have a choice. If you're into low carbs, it's easy to stick with the meat and the cheeses and maybe the olives and all these other wonderful things and not take the crackers. But if you do, and it's a couple, it's okay. Don't ever think that you're not allowed to treat yourself. You know, a lot of people call when they overindulge in something, or if they're on Weight Watchers. Now, again, with Weight Watchers, the great thing is you can eat everything. Just make sure you have the points for it. But one of the things that people do, which I really don't like, to me, it's a very negative thing to even think about. People always say, oh, I had a cheat day. When you have a cheat day, you're thinking that you've done something wrong. Eating is not wrong. Maybe what you're eating might not be the best choice. And all you have to think about that is it was my treat day or my treat meal. Because whatever you do in one day, you can easily decide in the next day to be careful. No harm done. But don't set yourself up for failure by saying, oh, well, I cheated anyway. What difference does it make? You had a treat. Everybody is allowed to have a treat, but everything is better in moderation. And so even when you work out at the gym, or you go for a walk or a jog or whatever it is that you like to do, even exercise is in moderation. Because you can overwork to the point where you really strain your body, and physically you get a lot more pain than your body deserves to have. Now, it's okay to have a little extra weight if you're doing the weightlifting, because you want to stretch those muscles and they will repair themselves. But make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do. Keep yourself hydrated and maybe have a protein drink after your workout. But it's easy to overwork your body at the gym. Now, having said that, for most people, getting to the gym is a big effort. And I know myself personally, when COVID first hit and the gyms were closed, I had already stopped going just before that because I got busy at other things in life. The problem, ladies, is that you only get one kick of the can with your body and your time here on earth. and you want to keep yourself in peak performance to do all the things that you're trying to accomplish in life to help you be successful. And making time for you is just as important as anything else that you've put on your calendar. So after the gyms got open and I still hadn't been going back, I all of a sudden found, because I was sitting so much at work, in the car, in my apartment, I wasn't actually getting active. I had just, from all the years of belonging and going to a gym, now I've had close to 3 years of inactivity, other than going golfing once or twice a week. And some of that time was, actually, I should say most of that time, I can't lie, it was most of the time I was in a golf cart. So I didn't actually have to do a lot of walking. But then my body started to shut down and I started to get joint pain all the way from, I'll say, the hips down. I caused that to my body because I abused it by not using it at all. And you don't want to find, because it's easy to get into the habit of actually not working out, not going for a walk, not going to the gym. Because once you stop going, it's easy to have an excuse not to go. And all of a sudden, with me, I had so much pain, I could barely take 10 steps without going, oh, oh, oh. Come on. Do we really want to put ourselves through that? And if somebody would have given me a picture of my future and I would be told and shown that I'd be walking like I'm 110 at my age, I would have maybe not let myself get there. So it happened. And now I go for physio twice a week. I go to the gym and I see a personal trainer twice a week. I am making sure that when my Fitbit goes off, that I'm taking my steps during the day. So I'm getting in. I'm not getting in, I have to admit, I'm not getting in 10,000 steps yet. But I've been about probably 4 or 5 months, I'm going to say, getting rehabilitated with physio and my personal trainer to try to get me where I can walk without so much pain. And actually, it's happening. I haven't even actually taken anything all week for the pain. And before, I was taking at least something every day. So I'm happy that it's working out, but I have to work so much harder now because I let myself go. And so with this holiday season upon us, you don't want to let this be the beginning of things happening to you and your body. Now that I've been shown the light, I'm making a point of treating myself and my body way better, even to the point where I don't normally take a bath. I like to take the shower, but my physiotherapist and my personal trainer both recommended taking a bath with Epsom salts and just relaxing in that and helping the muscles and stuff, I'll say, relax and loosen up. And it made it so much easier for me after to be able to walk. But I'm treating myself and saying, I deserve this downtime. And whether you do that after work, on the weekend, whenever you can find the time, make the time for you. Make the time. If you have a cup of tea or a glass of wine, whatever, just relax and soak. I'm stunned because when I had my house, I had a jacuzzi tub. I don't even think I was using it once a year because, you know, I'm always in a hurry. It's like in the shower, out of the shower, and get going doing whatever I'm doing. And a lot of times doing what I'm doing also resulted in me sitting because it wasn't activities that was keeping me moving. But I will never let myself go to that point where I mistreat the body and the body is reacting and making me pay the price of letting it go. So I'm working really, really hard to get it back in shape. And by next year, I'm hoping that whatever's been going on in my body is coming out so that I get back the body that I used to have, which is some limber and mobile type of limbs that are not killing me, just to take a step. Now, I haven't worn heels in, I'll say, a few years, but I wear flat shoes to keep myself at least being able to move. And whether it's a walk around the floor, because we have a pretty big floor where I work, it's helpful to do that several times a day. I even have small weights in my office where I can just, do a little bit to keep that tone. If I'm at the counter in the kitchen, I kind of do some push-ups against the counter. Every little bit helps to keep you in shape, to get you in shape. And when you are in shape, mentally, you feel better, and you feel better about making decisions to say, I'm more important than that donut you see in the background, or that cake that you see in the background. You know what? I find anyway, most things look better than they actually taste when it comes to, is it really worth it? Maybe if you have a sweet tooth. I'm kind of fortunate in that respect. I like certain sweets, but I don't love sweets. I love food and I love to eat, good food, but I'm more the savory than the sweet. So I don't crave the sweet. Now, occasionally I do crave chocolates and stuff. And so I'll go and buy a box of chocolates, but I'm okay to have 2 or 3 and say, that's it. I will never indulge to the point that I feel sick, because then I don't even enjoy it. It's the same with wine. I'll have a glass of wine, maybe 2, but after that, I don't enjoy it anymore. So I have some filters that are internal already. But if you don't have it, you need to have something that will help you to say, what's more important, the extra weight and eating that donut, or you and not having to worry about buying more clothes, because that could break the budget in the new year just because you overindulged in December. You don't want to be one of those statistics that every January join a gym, go for a month, and then forget about it for the rest of the year. Find what works for you and try to be consistent. Keep a good, healthy attitude and habit of whatever it is around food. Because as Canadian women, it's easy for us to have unhealthy attitudes towards food. And it's not worth it in the end. Because again, ladies, one body, what is it you're trying to accomplish out of life? You don't want to be having to focus on, weight loss or health issues, because you've developed health issues because you weren't taking care of yourself. Getting enough sleep, getting enough exercise, and eating whatever you like in moderation, you will be thankful that you did. We just want you around for the longest, and we want to help you accomplish those long-term goals. Whatever success it means to you, it's what Andrea and I have for a wish for you, and be here to be your support and be your cheering team when you do all the right things for yourself, your body, your life. So remember, moderation is key during the month of December. Now, next week, what I'm going to be doing is actually showing you how to make a Christmas wreath. I have never done one, and I am going to be getting the lesson of how to do it, and I'm going to be sharing my experience in making that wreath with you. So until next week, this is Linda Levesque, and Andrea hopefully will be around soon, but I know she won't be here next week, but she will be back. And she will give me another tip for next week so that you at least have that. So enjoy your month of December. I will see you next week for a wreath making episode. I want you to share, subscribe, and like anything that we do here. Please. We're here for you. So until next time, we'll see you soon.